Hi guys, what's up? Rishi and Adi are back with me on Summer Equals IPL, and we're here to talk about somebody who's very special to Indian cricket. Virat Kohli is obviously very special to the RCB fan base as well. Um, just something that I wanted to point out: this podcast was planned before the Virat Gambhir fight happened last night. Um, it's something that we'll talk about. We'll just touch upon it a little, but we're here to talk about Virat's greatest moments in the IPL in an RCB shirt, and also some of his best moments as a player for India as well. Um, Before we start off discussing what Virat has achieved for India, let's talk about that little bit, that spat that happened last night. From what it looked to me, this was what it was. Gambhir came to Chinnaswamy. The LSG won that thriller. He shushed the crowd, and Virat is saying to the LSG crowd, "Don't keep quiet, keep shouting." And I could hear there were a lot of RCB cheers last night. I think there was a lot of support for RCB at Lucknow. And maybe in the end, there were a few words exchanged between Virat and Naveen ul Haq. And I don't know where the whole Gambhir fiasco started again. Saw Kyle Myers talking to Virat, and Gambhir tried to take him away. And again, there were a few words exchanged probably there. And we've seen, RCB came out with their post-match diaries that they do every game, and Virat said, "If you can't take it, then don't give it." So I don't know what that means, but let's try to break it down. Rishi, what do you think all of this means, and what do you make of the situation yesterday?
I mean, it's not the first time Virat and Gambhir have clashed.
Yeah,
Proper two huge egos, and yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you do something like that in the first leg of a game, like you, and especially with a team that has huge egos and like charismatic players like Kohli, you have to fully expect that if like even by the slightest margins, like RCB end up winning the game, like they're definitely gonna give it back twofold or
yeah,
threefold back. So like I can't say I'm really surprised that this happened. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Adi, what do you make of it?
Dude, it wasn't surprising. I was always going to expect that thing, especially after, how Gumby shushed the fans in the Chinnaswamy Stadium in the first game at RCB's home stadium. It was all, I'm pretty sure we all expected, Virat Kohli to, be very fiery and vocal on the pitch, especially every time he got the wickets. You could see him, especially he got two good catches, and one was a beautiful catch. So you could see him like every time being
Yeah,
fired up. Like, as you said,
yeah,
he went to the spectators, he turned around, he gave a flying kiss, and he was sarcastically saying that he doesn't shush the crowd. He prefers them cheering.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's more like that whole spread love and not hate kind of message he gave it. I mean, this like after the post match, he didn't have to really go to Gambhir afterwards because Gambhir just walked away. He just took Myers and took him away from Kohli. So it was fine. I mean, I don't think Kohli should have just, you could see Kohli going out and then he comes back and calling Gambhir. I feel like he was just trying to explain what he was doing. I don't really think he
Hmm.
went to fight
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Gambhir,
same,
but
same, same, same.
yeah, but I feel like, especially Gambhir, dude, like when he loses it, he also loses it. I don't think he was there to listen to Virat Kohli. I guess he didn't like how Virat Kohli was, celebrating and like making fun of Gambhir in a indirect way. I guess it really hurt him, especially losing the game also, where he couldn't chase around 134. So but I also feel like Virat Kohli had a lot of fight with Naveen Hullak. I feel like that was where he was actually showing his aggression and actually trying to fight. Again, it was not necessary. Like he should have just left because like RCB had a huge win. When defending such a low target against a very good LSG side, should have just taken that and gone. Like I feel like he
Yeah.
made a statement in the celebrations in the match itself, and after winning, he should have just gone. I don't think there was a necessity of him going back. But again, it's Virat. Like you would expect him to go back.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know what happened after the game, and none of us obviously have heard anything. We don't know who said what went down. But For me, like I don't mind a bit of aggression, especially from Virat's side. I think that's one thing that I really admire about him, and I've admired about him over these years. He really wears his heart on his sleeve, and he plays with passion, and you can see that on the field. Whether it's Virat as captain or Virat as a player, he's always been aggressive, and it's something that's really that's really nice to watch. That it actually matters. Like the fans matter to him, and it kind of I feel like the fans to player connection only gets better and stronger because now people know that if you come and shush the fans or you do pull stunts at Chinnaswamy, then there's somebody who's there who will fight for you. And uh, like Rishi, as a fan, like you're not an RCB fan, but if you had a guy who's doing that for you, would that not make you feel good?
Yeah, definitely. That shows that it's not just players who are playing it for their paychecks at the end of the games or the end of their contract. Like it matters a lot more to them as well. And that's at the end of the day,
Yeah,
that's what we feel connected to. The fact that they share the same passion as us.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
so having players like that definitely means a lot more to us than just like cyborgs or like players who are like very robotic and get about their business and not show too many emotions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Adi, did you mind it at all when he did those celebrations during the game?
But I'm fine with the celebrations. I mean, even the celebrations, I don't think that was over the top. He was not
Yeah,
really
not at all.
doing that.
Absolutely same.
He was just being as himself. Like you see him, taking like the first wicket of the game, or even taking the tail ender's wicket. He's always aggressive. He's always fiery. So I feel like he was just being his normal self. I don't think he really. I don't think there's anything new from Virat. We've seen this over the past 10, 15, 12 years. Like that's how he's been as a player. So I don't think it was I feel like it's always fine because that's what Virat is. But I just feel like after the game he just didn't have to go back,
Hmm.
into the LSG but like area and then go and have words with Gambhir because we were done with the game. He just should have moved on. But yeah.
Yeah. True.
To add to what Adi was saying, to be honest, he didn't instigate anything. That was, if anything, that was started by Naveen Ulak, and this is a guy
Hmm.
who's had a record of having exchanges with players like on multiple occasions. Like I think he fought with Darcy Short in Big Bash League, and then he fought with I think Tisare Pereira in the Lankan Premier League. So he's had this track record of having issues with players and like
Hmm.
letting emotions get the better of him. So and then again, it was very visible what he did. Like he was not letting go of the hand and then kind of just pushing it
Yeah, yeah,
away.
yeah. Correct,
I
correct.
mean,
Yeah.
you don't do that to someone like Virat Kohli and expect him to just let go of it.
Yeah, and I think we'll only know the full story when somebody opens up in some interview, hopefully in the future, and we'll figure out what is going on. But let's talk about Virat Kohli, the cricketer. Now, he's had many a moment for RCB, many moments for this Indian side. Like quickly, let's rank like his top three moments in either an RCB shirt or an Indian shirt. Rishi, Adi, like just give me your picks for your top three Virat Kohli moments. Rishi, I'll start with you. Just give me your picks, like your favorite Virat Kohli moments.
For me, I think I think it's hard to
Just name,
choose
just name one,
20.
and we'll keep it moving.
Off the top of my mind, I think probably the 2016 centuries against Gujarat Lions. I think one
Right.
he hit in the RCB Go Green jersey,
Yeah.
and to be honest, that season he's had a lot of centuries. And it's hard to pick. Like when Kohli is like in that kind of form, it's very hard to pick one or two performances. Like I genuinely can't pick three out of like whatever number of like hundreds he hit in like that one season alone.
I feel like we can cap off that entire 2016 IPL season itself
Exactly,
and say, that
exactly.
that
One
brilliant
period,
IPL
yeah.
season. Yeah, exactly. That's probably one thing in his, you know, many his cap of feathers. Adi, what about you? Like, do you remember some extraordinary Virat Kohli moments, or is there anything in particular that you really like about him, or like he's done for India or RCB?
His knocks generally for RCB or like even for India? Because like I feel
For
like
India also, like for India as well, like
yeah, dude. Then it's the T20 World Cup game against West Indies. The
the
one where he scored
2016 one.
Yeah, when he scored 89
the
runs.
semi-final.
Yeah, that was like clutch because that was not the semi-final. Was that the semi-final?
It was the semi-final. It was the one we lost, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah. It was the semi-final. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
was it? We
Yeah,
were
yeah.
chasing that, right?
Yeah, yeah. We lost the game.
We lost. Yeah, but that was the finals.
Yeah, yeah. Semis.
Oh yeah, it was the semis. Correct. Wait,
Yeah.
who did West Indies play in the finals then?
England, Stokes.
England. Oh yeah,
Fine.
correct. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
in the semi-finals. That's where like
yeah.
India was struggling, and he's the only one who hit that game. Correct. I feel like, dude, that entire year of 2016 itself, the entire calendar year, he had a lot of knocks, and especially for RCB also that season, 4 centuries, 900 plus runs in
True,
one
true.
season. I don't think anyone's done an average of around 82. He scored 2 centuries against Gujarat. One was in Chinnaswamy. Him and AB de Villiers scored. We scored around 230 runs that game. 230, 240 runs. That was like an immense performance. Even the away game, he scored a century. And he scored
Yeah,
a century against Pune Super Giants also that game. And I think against KKR, but I don't remember the last century. But 4 centuries in an IPL, I feel like that season itself is like, the peak Virat Kohli, where he was aggressive. That's like the peak of him being an aggressive player, aggressive batsman, especially in the T20, where, he really hadn't made his game in the T20 that much until, the 2016 season. Because ODI test, we always used to see him score runs, for India in the test
yeah,
games, India, Australia. He's always scored centuries. Uh, Even in the ODIs, like in the 2015 World Cup, and even again, like so many series, especially against Australia, we've always seen him score centuries. But I feel like that year, as a T20 player, like he proved him that like he can play all the three formats very well. So I feel like that
true,
2016 year
true.
is like peak for not only as Virat Kohli, but any cricketer, any batsman. Because I don't think you'll ever see any other player score that much amount of runs in one year. And he was very clutch in that year. It was not just, him scoring runs, that so-called stat padding. He was actually winning games like for RCB and India that season. He literally carried India, dude, in the 2016 World Cup. Because like apart from him, I don't remember anyone else playing that well. So yeah, I feel like that is
Yeah,
like a moment.
yeah. The entire 2016 year, I think, was his year. And for me, it's so hard to pick. Like, you've seen Virat from 2008, the World Cup, the Under 19 World Cup, then coming into our RCB setup. He was very young, didn't get enough opportunities first 3 years. Then he started playing, he picked up, he started performing very well. Broke into the 2011 World Cup side, won the World Cup, then 2013 Champions Trophy.
So
Huh?
he scored a century on his debut, right, against Bangladesh in the World Cup.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure.
2011 World Cup, yeah. He scored 100.
Yeah, but anyways, like he's always after that he became a mainstay in the Indian team. But for me, I think the pinnacle of a batsman's career is when you play well in a side that's struggling in the test format. Okay, like you go to foreign conditions, everybody around you is struggling, but like you're the one guy who is actually batting well. You know, that's when you feel like you can tell
The
apart
century in test.
the the incredible batsman from the rest. And that 2015 Australia tour where India were absolutely struggling. Virat was the one guy who was getting runs, scored a couple of hundreds. It just shows that, like he can play in all kinds of conditions. He's been successful in England in 2018. He's been successful in Australia for so many years, and wherever he goes, he plays well. He plays well in the subcontinent, obviously. But yeah, that one series I think really showed me that Virat, he's got that fight and he's got that bit about him that regardless of what is happening around him, whether the conditions are tough or not, he's there to bat. He reminded me a lot of Rahul Dravid when then India went to England in 2011 and everybody around him was struggling, but Dravid got a couple of hundreds and he really kept the Indian team going. And same with Virat in 2015 in Australia. But now again, it's very hard to rank these moments. I think let's just talk about Virat and like generally assess how he's done or like his top moments over the years. Rishi, do you have any more moments to add like off the top of your head? Because there are so many. Let's just talk about them.
Just purely going by the lines, that you had mentioned, the way when he stood tall when others were falling apart. Like off the top of my head, it has to be the two games, one in Centurion against South Africa, where that had that
Mm-hmm.
Rabada, Morkel, Philander, that deadly lineup,
I
and like
yes.
others were not able to pick a ball. Like it was flying rockets everywhere, and Virat just kept pushing and pushing. It was that game and the Edgbaston test.
Yeah.
Like that had built, like it was building up for a long time, where like there were rumors, like not just rumors, it was like it was the talk of the town that Anderson had him in his, like had a trick for him. Anderson could, like had him at the palm of his hand. And then like the ball was moving around corridors as well. I clearly remember that, like Broad and Anderson were like just ripping apart people. And both those innings, the you can see the others. I probably don't think, especially in the South Africa game, I don't think anyone crossed even 30 or something in that innings. The second top scorer has to be like somewhere in the 20s, and I think it was one of the openers. And even in the Edgbaston game, I think the next highest scorer was like Rahane with like 60s or something. And
Yeah.
the Virat scoring like probably more than like 50% of the team total, that in like adverse conditions. These are probably two of the toughest, conditions to play in, like especially for a subcontinent batsman.
Yeah, that's true.
To play in such conditions against such adversities, like has to be like for me the top two innings like of Virat's career, probably test career that
And
is.
he came back again, like in England, like a place that he struggled in 2014, all those that poor run of form, and then came back in 2018 very strong. Then again, when we went to England recently, he did well, and
Yeah,
he's just a wholesome cricketer now. And one thing that I've admired again, so it's just an aspect of him, like it's his personality more so. It's his fire and that the aggression that he brings to the field, regardless of whether he's captain or not on the field. It's just fun to watch Virat because like it really, like I feel like it helps you know boost the team's confidence, especially the bowlers. It feels like the fielders actually care. Like they're right behind us. Let's go after them. When India needed to pick up 10 wickets in 60 overs in England, it's not an easy feat. But then like bowlers are doing well. You've got a guy who's charged up right behind you. It just gives you that extra boost to come and get the job done. And he believed that you could get the job done. That's very hard to find. Most captains will come and say 60 overs. You know what? We'll try. We'll give it our best. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But he genuinely believed that they could get the job done, and they did. So yeah, that's something. That's something I've always really liked about Virat, and I'm really happy that he stayed that way throughout his career. Adi, anything else that comes off the top of your head?
The other thing, like as a captain, I feel like he's one of India's most aggressive captains since Ganguly. I feel
Ganguly, yeah.
like yeah, like I feel like especially after he got the Test captaincy and then slowly ODI also. Like I feel like team and especially in his form that time, I feel like every bowler, every team around the world, feared him at that time. I mean, I feel like even the Australian bowlers, I feel like the entire world like feared him. They didn't know how to bowl to him. They didn't really know how to get him out. He literally had no weaknesses. And I feel like taking that form, that aura into the captaincy, I feel like especially the first 2 3 years, he was pretty good, and like you could see that aggression on the team. I feel like apart from him, I don't think any other Indian player over the years has ever been that aggressive. I mean, you can say
Yeah.
especially in the past 10 years, like apart from him, maybe a bit of Yuvraj Singh, Harbhajan. I don't think any other players aggressive. I mean,
Yeah.
especially he's aggressive every moment, dude. He's in your face every moment as a batsman, especially in tests. It's even his scoring, his centuries, scoring runs. That's there, but especially in those test matches where keeping the pressure on the batsman. I feel like he's always done that over the years, and that's why he was he was very successful in the test format because 5 days continuously having the same energy, going out every day on the pitch, 5 continuous days, having the same aggression, same rhythm. I don't think any other Indian captain could have maintained
Mm.
that. You can see now also, I don't think like Rohit Sharma can maintain that aggression. And you can see that a bit fades away over days for India. Like I feel like he never lost hope till the last day, till the last ball. And I
That's
feel
true.
like,
That's true. That's
yeah, I feel like that mentality always helped India, especially in the test games where you need to have that grit, you need to have that endurance over the 5 days, and especially his fitness, dude. I feel like he transformed India, especially with having
absolutely.
being getting fitness into the Indian team. I mean, before that, unfortunately, under MS Dhoni, however good he was as a captain, I don't think we were really serious when it came to fitness. You see, all the most of the players in Indian team didn't look fit. I mean, when you look at in the Indian team now, you can see players like KL Rahul, Virat, Hardik. They all look very fit. They all
Jadeja.
look, yeah, Jadeja, Bumrah, Siraj. They all look very fit. They all look very. They're all like fast. I feel like that was only because of Virat's influence of he himself transforming. I mean, we saw Virat coming in when he was the young. He was a bit chubby looking guy, and like what from 2013, 2014, he literally transformed his own diet,
Yeah.
and he brought in that fit. Bro, like yesterday, you could see him on the field. I feel like I was frightened, dude, the way he runs, the way he charges at the ball in fielding. I feel like no one else is as fast as him. He's 34, dude, and like the way he charges, the way he
Yeah.
throws his arm strength. I don't think anyone else has that fitness. Even no, like your young guns like Shubman Gill. I feel like these guys he's like such a good role model to these kind of people, because like you can see that being fit itself gives you 50% of an advantage, especially on the cricket pitch where
Yeah.
really don't have that fitness. I feel like that's one of the most unique part about him, because like apart from him in India, I don't think fitness was that much concentrated and stressed upon in the Indian cricket team. So I feel like
That's
that was
true.
like one of his pinnacles, and this trend setting in the Indian side.
You spoke about his fitness, his fielding, of course. Rishi spoke about some of his best knocks. Even I spoke about some of his best knocks. But one thing that you look at Virat Kohli and you're like, okay, this guy is timing and class. He's one of those batsmen. Like you love to watch his cover drives. You love to watch the way Kohli times ball. He's not a slogger. You don't want Virat coming across and playing it over mid wicket. You just want him to really stroke it over covers and play over, play on the offside. And he had that obviously that really poor patch where he didn't score a century for X number of years. Doesn't matter, but then when he came back to his purest form. When even that game against Pakistan, that six of Haris Rauf right
Yeah,
over his head,
just
that
yeah. It
it
was
wasn't
all
a
pure
full
time.
ball. It was on length, and he just timed it sweetly over his head. And I think that sums up Virat Kohli, the batsman. He was just somebody who purely timed the ball beautifully, and he still does that today. Uh, Rishi, like, do you have anything else to add on Virat, the batsman?
Virat, the batsman, I don't think I've ever seen him play a unorthodox shot ever in my life. I don't, at least I can't remember. Like he makes the most challenging shots look aesthetically pleasing, and that really defines him as a batsman. Like even the flicks of his wrist, like it's just a joy to watch. It's like poetry. And I think the last quality batsman I've seen probably play such beautiful strokes were like has to be look so natural, had to be Sachin Tendulkar. And then
Mhm.
again, we none of us were old enough to watch peak Tendulkar. Like we watched
That's
him
true.
towards the latter part of his career. Even then, like that has like I honestly maybe AB de Villiers, but then again, AB de Villiers is more of a lot of movement off the crease, may like so that kind of batsman. But then purely aesthetics, it has to be Virat Kohli, and that really defines the kind of batsman he is in my head at least.
I think would you keep him in RCB for a few more years, another 4 or 5 years? You'll have him.
No, dude. Honestly, I don't think I would. I mean, dude, like you can see, even though like whatever he's done in the past, his aggressiveness, him being a great player. I just feel like, especially in those pivotal moments, not only for RCB but even for India, I just don't think he's been that guy, dude. And when you want to, be a so-called legend in the game, so-called top player, you need to have those innings in those finals, semi-finals. I mean, he's had, but like he's never taken them, to a victory to a World Cup. Like over this what since 13 years, like 2011 was the last time he played, like won a World Cup. I mean, even though he won that World Cup, he was not really a pivotal part in that World Cup. And ever since that, he's captain what the 2019 World Cup. He was a captain. He's captain three T20 World Cups. He captained a Champions League trophy, Champions League also, and he's failed to win all of them. Where the Indian team was the favorites to win, especially the losing to Pakistan in a T20. I mean, Champions League final. I feel like in those pivotal moments, I just feel like he's never been that great, and I feel like that happens even with the RCB. Unfortunately, like, dude, at the end of the day, this is a knockout tournament. It's not a league game. So when in the semi-finals, finals, I always feel like he's the one like everyone looks up to, in the RCB team. Because when you look at Virat Kohli going, you would expect him to have a knock, but he just doesn't. And I feel like that drains the confidence of RCB as a team also. So I just feel like in those peak moments, I feel like you need to have that player in him. And over the years, I just don't think he's been that. So if I want to win a IPL, I would never have Virat Kohli in my side because history has proven that he's never been able to win a trophy by himself or like his cap under his captaincy or him being that player to pull the team to the finals and win it. But as a cricketer, yeah, he's a lovely cricketer, bro. Like he's one of the best players. I mean, especially for our generation, like our dads got to watch Sachin Tendulkar as a player. We got our own Sachin, and
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he gave so much of memories as a cricketer, especially for in the Indian team. A lot of innings. As a player, you can't doubt his talent, his caliber is like it's like you can like Virat is here and then the next player is somewhere here over the past 5-6 years. But yeah, if I want to win a trophy, no, bro, not Virat.
It's kind of harsh
About
because yeah,
No, to add to what Adi was saying earlier about his Virat's a very important contribution to the Indian team being the physical, like the
mm,
importance of like sports science, physical fitness. There's one more thing, like at least in my opinion, that Virat brought to the team was like the feeling of proper alpha dogs. Like
yeah,
historically,
yeah. I
India
saw
was
true.
like never been a team that we always used to be the nice guys, the gentlemen. Like we were a team that had the VVS Lakshmans, the Rahul Dravids, the Sachin Tendulkars, and
Mm.
occasionally we were sprinkled with like a Ganguly and a Gambhir, but like it was mostly gentlemanly cricket. And it was Australia who always came out as the big bullies, like bullying players, bullying opponents. I mean, bullying the umpires as well. And in a sport dominated by them, like he actually came and put not just himself but an entire nation as the alpha dogs. Like we used to go in and do to Australia what Australia used to do to world cricket for like the probably like the last 30 like the 30 years or something. So that
True.
has to be like at least for me like a very important contribution that he has made to not just to us, to like the team, like to the whole nation as well.
I think that's so true. Like a lot of belief that we have in the Indian side, being the favorites in every tournament is probably down to his attitude and the way he's carried this Indian side. But just one thing that I think it's a little harsh to say that history has proven that he hasn't won a trophy for India. If you go by that logic, see, Tendulkar did not win a World Cup until his last 2 years in international cricket. So it happens. It happens to everyone, and he could have easily gone his entire career without winning anything for India. So I think his
Dude,
time will come. I think Virat's time will come. Like
I
it,
mean,
it's
the thing is with if you want to take that comparison, when Sachin was trying to win a World Cup, you literally had literally the best ODI team in Australia in competing against him, like
no, no, no.
2003,
See,
2007.
2003, 2007, both years India went in as strong favorites, like to do pretty
But
well in both tournaments, but we didn't. Like
yeah,
it
favorites, but I feel
happens.
like Australia were
we were
always,
we were never like we never stood a chance against Australians.
yeah,
That
exactly.
was
I
that was
don't,
the golden generation of Australia.
No,
Like
that's
that
true.
I
team
But
feel like,
set out to win.
and that's
no,
the
but
thing, I
it's
feel
true.
like,
But 2007 we were strong. We were really strong.
but dude, I feel like Australia was like,
2007 was again Australia World Cup, like was in Australia, right?
No, it was in the West
Oh,
Indies, if I'm not wrong.
West Indies, South, one of
2007
those.
I think it
World
was in
Cup.
West Indies. The
Hold on.
T20 World Cup was in South Africa.
Oh, right. Yeah, 2007 was, yeah.
No, either ways, like
No, that's the thing. I feel
my
like Virat, dude, you see Virat's dominance, in that 2016, 2017, 2018. I feel like when he peaked, I feel like the other so-called top teams had their downfalls. With England, South Africa. South Africa were pretty decent, but apart from that, England,
Probably,
South
yeah.
Africa, Australia, all the three major teams had their own issues, dude. They were all facing their own problems. England really couldn't find that so-called captain. Even you could see South Africa struggling a lot after Graham Smith's retirement. I mean, they were before, especially Virat Kohli coming, because Hashim Amla was the captain for the 2 years and they were number one then. But then they were also decreasing. You could see them also a bit down. Even Australia,
Mm.
we know how Australia struggled over those 3 years, 4 years, especially when Virat got to dominate those 4 years of cricket. And I feel like all the 4 years he had good chances to win. I mean, you have to be harsh when you're going to the finals against that Pakistan team, in the Champions Trophy. Like you can't
Mm.
expect. Dude, we all everyone. It was like 100% probability that India were going to win that game. Like I don't think anyone gave chance like to Pakistan for a win.
No, I
I feel like
understand that, but
performance you have to
yeah,
be able to back it and win it, dude. Like
but I
especially
think
as
his time will come down. Like I think this Test Championship that is around the corner, the final, India have a pretty good chance of winning it, and I think
but yeah, again,
it'll happen for
he's
him.
not a captain right now. I feel like
Ah,
if they
that's
win,
fine.
the credit goes to again Rohit Sharma. And
I
if you
no,
want to talk
we
about
got into the we got into the Test Championship final on the back of Virat's
no,
reign
no,
as
it's not.
captain as well.
No, I
This
Absolutely, but
this team
no, but
has Virat. Like this team is a Virat spine. Like
Virat call,
uh,
yeah, Virat team, yeah, exactly. And I
yeah.
think regardless, if Virat plays an important part in that final, it credit will go to him. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's all the
let's find
future.
out.
We have to wait. But I'm saying
We'll
till
see.
now, whatever Virat's done, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I know, but let's
Like,
see.
I just feel like,
It
if
might
you
come.
want to be called a legend, like not only in cricket, you can see in other sports, like, football, basketball, all your legends, like your Jordans, your Messis, they were there in the peak moments, the moments where your team needed. Like, for example, you can see Messi in the World Cup, whatever,
Yeah,
your Jordans in that NBA finals. Like, you could see them always there. And, if you want to call your Virat as these goat of, cricket and Indian cricket, he has to be able to prove in those finals. And I feel like this year, the World Cup especially, like over the Test Cricket Championship, like I feel like that World Cup, I feel like this year, if he, especially him playing, a pivotal role, I feel like that's when you can, cement him as the so-called goat of the cricket or like whatever. But until
mm.
that, I feel like he's not.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
We'll find out very soon. But I think where he's a generational talent, obviously, and I've been very grateful to have had the opportunity to grow up watching Virat. Is basically our childhood has taken place at the same time as Virat's career beginning till the end, and it's been a journey for us and him, and it's been a pleasure to watch him play and represent RCB, represent India, and I hope he continues to play well for both teams for a long, long time, and we wish him all the best. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks so much for joining in. This was our Virat Kohli podcast, so to speak. Yeah, thanks.